We start with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And you've heard me cite now for about a week this stretch of 10 games out of a dozen against playoff teams. It started Thursday night in Toronto. And just for the sake of informational purposes, let's run down the entire list, right? The visit to Toronto on Thursday. Carolina yesterday at home. They get a brief respite against the Devils on Thursday night. Then the Rangers on Saturday at home. Then a visit to Columbus on Sunday night. Okay, another brief respite. And then business really picks up. The week after that, Tampa and Carolina back-to-back on the road on a Thursday and Friday night. The week after that, Florida, Vegas, Carolina, all at home. The week after that, trips to Nashville and St. Louis. 10 out of 12 games during this stretch for the Penguins against playoff-caliber opponents, and the ones you're particularly interested in are the ones against the Metro Division, right? Because they've got 4 games left against the Rangers. They had 3 games left against Carolina, now just 2, and those are the teams they're battling with for the Metro Division lead. And regardless of whether you believe that's important or not, I do believe it has some importance, especially as it relates to home ice advantage. You can agree that you'd like to see the Penguins play up to the caliber of their opponent, right? That they would play a more consistent 60-minute hockey game on a more regular basis. I get it. It's the dog days of the NHL season, mid to late February, right? The regular season going to go a little bit longer this year. I don't think it wraps up until, the 29th? And so, a few weeks later than usual. So the season's stretching out a little bit longer, and we're right in the middle of it. So you can't expect any NHL team to play all 82 games of a season completely dialed in for all 60-plus minutes every single night. I get it. Everybody's going to have their ups and their downs. But when you see that stretch on the schedule coming up, and don't pretend like these guys don't look at the schedule, they do. When you see that stretch on the schedule coming up of, oh boy, look at this. Carolina. Oh, we got another playoff team. Toronto. Oh, then we got Carolina again after that a couple weeks later. Oh, we got the Rangers in there. Oh, we got Tampa. Oh, we got Vegas and Florida. Okay, yeah. We better ramp it up here, boys. We better ramp it up, boys. Need some W's, boys. And they do against better competition. And what you got yesterday was sleepwalking through the first 35 minutes, essentially.
I thought, in the first half of the game, I thought they did a better job than us. I thought in the second half we were pretty good. And the second half of the second period, I thought we had some extended offensive zone shifts. We get 2 goals to tie the game up. I thought there were moments in the third period as well.
Mike Sullivan, Penn's head coach, yesterday afternoon, talking about a tale of 2 different games, and it really was. Late second period, the Penguins really took control, stormed back, but then they give up the goal 9 seconds in to the third period to Sebastian Aho, and that on the heels of giving up a goal 9 seconds into the second period to Jordan Staal. So whether we're talking about slow starts to games or slow starts to periods, they both apply here. And that this team needs to start honing in, dialing in on 60-minute efforts, right? Especially against a quality opponent like the Hurricane. This is not the Flyers, where you could storm back and win an OT. This is not the Sharks, where you could sleepwalk through the first 2 periods and wake up for the third. This is not the Coyotes, who you could, toy with for 40 minutes before you step on the gas. This is not the New Jersey Devils. This is not the Blue Jackets. These are quality playoff teams that dot your schedule over the next 3 weeks. And this is the time where also management's going to be trying to decide some things, right? With the trade deadline not too far behind, they're trying to figure out, well, do we need to necessarily make this move? Do we need to make that move? This stretch leads right into the trade deadline. This 10 games against playoff opponents inside 12 wraps up on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Trade deadline 4 days later, Monday, March 21st. You'll know a lot. And Ron Hextall And Brian Burke will know a lot about this team after this stretch. 10 more of these games left, and 8 of them against playoff opponents. The first 2, regulation losses. And maybe only 25 minutes of quality hockey in 120. Again, I get it. It's the doldrums. It's the dog days of the NHL season. But very quickly, very rapidly, we're approaching the point where the games mean more. And they feel like they mean more. Like yesterday's did. It felt like a playoff
That's
game.
a really good hockey team. They've won a lot of games this year. You know, they're in first place for a reason. They're a good team. They've got a lot of talent. They're a deep team. And they're well coached. So it's a hard game. It had a playoff feel to it as far as just there's not a lot of room out there. You know, you got to fight for every inch. And that's the game that I think we need to embrace moving forward, because that's playoff hockey.
Yeah. This is your opportunity to get a little taste of playoff hockey in late February, early to mid-March. This is your opportunity to start sharpening the swords, okay? Prepare yourself for what you're going to see in May. And what you're going to see, if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, based on the way the standings sit right now, is probably the Rangers, the Hurricanes, or the Caps in the first round, depending on how things shake out. And there's a long way to go. I get it. The Pens have 30 games left, right? A lot still to shake out. But you're not going to face the Devils or the Flyers or the Coyotes or the Sharks. You're going to face a quality opponent in the first round. So start showing that you can play that kind of game. And what I mean by that game is not just what Mike Sullivan wants you to do, good, tight checking hockey, solid in your own end, hard on the puck in the offensive end. It's a complete 60-minute effort. Brian Rust yesterday.
Didn't have the greatest start, and I think they got on their toes. We got on our heels a little bit, and once we got down 2-0, I think we kind of looked in the mirror, and I thought we were good for that last, 60% of the game, something like that. But obviously against a team like that, you can't spot them too, and then look to play hard.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can't spot a good team 2 goals and then look to wake up. You can't get utterly dominated for much of the first period as the Penguins did and most of the second, and then go, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, yep, look, game started at 1 o'clock, boys. Guess we should get moving. You can't do that. That's how you end up getting bounced in the first round by the Islanders. That's how you end up getting bounced in the first round by the Canadiens. That's how you end up getting bounced in the first round by the Islanders again. All right, that second time had more to do with the goalie. But the point still remains. That's how you get unceremoniously bounced early from the playoffs. You know, I just said like a week ago, this is a cup contender. Look at them and the way they're playing. Crosby's still playing some of the best hockey of his career. We all celebrated the 500th goal. It was awesome. I don't want to take anything away from that moment. I don't want to pretend like this 2-game skid here is anything more than just, well, a 2-game skid. But as these habits continue to become, well, just that, habitual, it leaves you wondering, is this team going to be properly prepared for the playoffs once they get here? Or are they going to continue to just play like, well, we'll flip the switch when we feel like flipping the switch? It's not going to work that way. And they're going to find that out the hard way over the next 2.5, 3 weeks. They are. Again, maybe against Jersey on Thursday night, you can get away with that. Maybe on Sunday out in Columbus, you can get away with that. But not against the Rangers on Saturday. Not against Tampa or Carolina on the road after that. Not against Florida, Vegas, or Carolina again after that. Certainly not on the road in Nashville or St. Louis. You're not going to get away with it. You just won't. So start coming out of the gates hard and playing your game early. Play an entire 60 minutes and do it repetitively over the next 3 weeks against quality opponents so that we're not left wondering again as we head towards May and the playoffs, are they going to fail to show up? Because I'd hate for that to be the legacy of the final third of the Crosby, Malkin, Letang era. assuming all three stay together until retirement. Or just the legacy of the final third of the Crosby-Malkin era, or just Crosby, whatever. The final third of this era of Penguins hockey, if we've got another 5 or 6 years left in it. I'd hate for the legacy of it to be, yeah, they were really talented, but they just didn't show up for the whole game or the whole series.